What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, guys, so we are basically going to continue our coverage over Earth 1 comics, and we're going to cover Earth 1 Teen Titans. Now, when it comes to Earth 1, you have to remember, it's basically an alternate DC universe where the writers have more freedom to tell the origins of these characters in Earth 1 universe. Now, with that being said, Earth 1 Teen Titans was probably the one a lot of fans kind of gave a lot of hate towards because it was completely different from what fans are usually used to when it comes to Teen Titans. Because again, this is Earth 1. The writers had more freedom, but of course the main goal was to make sure that the origins are somewhat different or completely different from the original source. And so when it came to Earth 1 Teen Titans, it was something. It was completely different. And a lot of fans were very shocked by it. Now, the opening pages of this book kind of shows us why I said earlier that basically the origin of the Teen Titans is completely different. Because we actually do pick up with this kind of dream sequence. Now, this dream sequence, of course, it does seem like there's a family right now traveling through space. And of course, they had some complications as they were traveling through space. And of course, after they were able to travel through space and arrive on Earth, of course, the landing wasn't so great. Where, of course, you did have the parents basically get injured. But of course, they hid out in a cave. Now, of course, they were found by a bunch of scientists or a bunch of people who work for a particular science group. But one of those characters was Slade Wilson. Of course, we know Slade Wilson is Deathstroke. Right off the bat, this is completely different from the actual origin of the Teen Titans. But of course, you have Slade Wilson finding this family that was traveling through space, but of course had a very complicated landing system. And of course, the parents died, but the baby survived. And so you had Slade and the rest of these scientists take the baby in, and the dream sequence ends on that note. But then we come to find out who was basically the person having that dream. It was Raven. And right off the bat, we do learn that Raven in Earth 1 is Native American, and she actually does live on a reservation for Native Americans in New Mexico. Now, of course, when she does wake up, of course, having that dream did cause some kind of effect on her, where of course she has to throw up because that dream felt like it was a very real thing that happened in the past. And of course, she's wondering, did that actually happen to somebody? If it did, why am I having that dream? Now, of course, you do have Raven go outside her home where she is confronted by her grandfather. Now, right off the bat, her granddad can tell that something is wrong with Raven, that basically she went through something. And of course, she's trying not to tell him, but he can say, listen, I can tell that you had another vision. And so, of course, it's grandpa calling her dream a vision. And of course, he tells her that, listen, those visions are trying to tell you something important. And I would know because I used to have those visions. But the day you were born, the visions stopped coming to me and, of course, began to come to you. And so the visions are right now are trying to tell you something important. And so, honestly, you may try to listen or actually kind of read into those visions to learn more about what is trying to actually tell you, because it could actually help you down the road. But then we jump over to Oregon, where of course we actually pick up with Tara. Now, of course, we all know in the original Teen Titans, Tara has the ability of, well, Earth-like abilities, controlling the Earth around her. Now, with that being said, though, in Earth 1, as we can see right now, Tara is just your regular teenage girl. Now, here's the thing though. She does have a problem with her mother. We can tell that basically their relationship is not that great. It's very rocky. And no, that was not a pun towards basically Tara's powers. Because, of course, as we all know, Tara does have the ability to control the earth around her, the ground around her. But, of course, you do have Tara asking her mom to give her a ride to school, and you have her mom say, like, no, I can't do that for you. I'm not feeling so good right now. Can you just walk there or take the bus? And, of course, you do have Tara say yes, but this kind of gives us a hint that basically Tara's mother could be an alcoholic. But then we kind of find out very quickly that basically Beast Boy is also in the book. Now, of course, when we actually do see Beast Boy, right now, Beast Boy is your regular teenage boy who's going to his first day of school and being driven there by one of his fathers. And of course, it's Gar being very nervous about going to high school. But then we jump right back over to Tara. And basically right now, you have Tara arriving on school on time. Now, when she does arrive at school, she's kind of used as a way to kind of give us another character that is going to be very important for the storyline, but also a fan favorite classic character. And of course, that character is Cyborg. And of course, we come to find out that basically Tara and Cyborg are dating one another. Now, of course, with these two characters dating one another, we kind of get the idea that basically they're the bad couple. They do bad things, and of course, they tick off their parents a lot because they do a lot of bad things. And also, their parents do not like the idea of these two characters dating one another. But of course, it's kind of like, hey, here we are, they're teenagers, they do crazy things, and here's Cyborg now in Earth 1, Teen Titans Volume 1. Now, of course, that is the moment we actually do see Cyborg's mother appear. And Cyborg's mother is kind of like a hard you-know-what. She's always on her son's butt and making sure that basically he follows the school rules and makes sure he's a good student. Now, on top of that, she does not like the idea of her son dating Tara because Tara is a troubled child and her mother is also a troubled person. But either way, you do have Cyborg's mom appear, and she's all like, listen, I'm a teacher here, and I want to make sure that my child, one, follow the rules, but two, doesn't embarrass me by being here to school and doing crazy things. Now, we actually do jump over to the classroom. And of course, the classroom is where you have all the characters coming together. So Tara, Victor, and also Gar, aka Beast Boy. Now, of course, when Garfield kind of says his name, you do have Cyborg make fun of him. And this shows that basically Cyborg is more of like a bully in this universe. He's more kind of a jerk. And of course, he does make fun of Garfield, which honestly kind of shocked me because in the original DC universe, Beast Boy and Cyborg are close friends. And of course, in the cartoon shows we had growing up, Beast Boy and Cyborg, again, were close friends. But either way, right now, you have Cyborg actually picking on Garfield because Garfield's name is kind of weird to Cyborg. But while you have everybody laughing and stuff like that, and you do have Victor Stone's mother kind of calm the classroom down, we also get introduced to another character, and that character is Joseph Wilson, of course the son of Slade Wilson. And he is also going to be very important for this storyline. But then we jump over to lunch. Now, this setting right here is very important for two different reasons. The first is that basically you have Victor Stone realize that his mother right now has been hanging out with the new kid, Joseph Wilson, of course, the son of Slade Wilson. Now, with that being said, is Cyborg wondering why is his mom trying to hang out with his kid so much? Like, what's so special about this kid that his mother wants to see so much and actually talk to so much? But right after that, though, you then have Victor Stone tell Tara that he feels sick, that he needs to go to the bathroom. And so, of course, you do have Victor run to the bathroom. Now, his mom tried to stop him because his mom wants him to kind of show Joey around the school. But, of course, you have Victor tell his mom, no, not a good time. I gotta go. I don't feel good. Something is wrong with me. And so, of course, he does run into the bathroom. Now, that is the moment where we actually do pick up a Cyborg in the bathroom. And when he does, we actually begin the process of seeing Cyborg get his powers, or his powers actually activating. And this is huge because when he does pull up his shirt, he does see that basically part of his skin is turning into metal. And of course, it's kind of like, okay, he is becoming Cyborg-like in a way. Now, he thought he was in the bathroom by himself, but of course, he was not, and that is the moment you have Garfield walk out. Of course, Beast Boy. Now, Beast Boy does see what's happening to Cyborg, and you have Garfield wondering, hey, what's happening to you? But you have Victor tell Garfield, hey, listen, you didn't see anything, and you better not tell anybody at all. And you have Cyborg run out. Now, of course, when he does run into Tara. And when he does, you do have Tara kind of like, hey, are you okay? Because you seem very stressed, and also you're in the bathroom for a very long time. But then you have Garfield walk out saying like, oh, it's my bad. I basically bombed the bathroom. It smells really bad in there. If I was you, I will not go in there at all at the moment. Now, that is the moment where we actually pick up with Joseph Wilson arriving home to his house, or his home on a boat. But either way, though, he is confronted by Slade Wilson, his father. Now, this is Slade Wilson basically want to know, how was his son's first day at school? The problem is, though, you kind of have Joseph giving Slade the cold shoulder. And the reason why, because Joseph honestly feels like his father does not care much about what his son actually likes. Because you have Joseph say, I'm kind of happy I did go to that new school because Eleanor, of course, Cyborg's mother, has showed Joseph a lot of great things that Joseph actually likes. But when it comes to Joseph and Slade, Slade only wants to talk about sports. And for Joseph does not like sports at all. And so right now it's Joseph kind of building a bond with Eleanor, the mother of Cyborg, rather than his own father. Now, that is the moment where we actually do pick up with Tara and Cyborg making out in his mom's car. Of course, he basically stole his mom's car to meet Tara so that they can have a good old makeout session. Now, this is a couple that is kind of going through some things. And of course, Tara feels like Cyborg is not telling her something that could be very important, that could basically affect their relationship. And of course, she's right. Is Cyborg not telling her about what's happening right now to his skin? And that basically right now his skin is turning to metal. And so you have Cyborg say, fine, I need to tell you something very important. And so that is the moment you have Cyborg basically show Tara what's happening right now with his skin. And that basically his skin is turning to metal. Now, of course, when she goes to touch his skin, well, that is the moment it kind of comes to life. Like it's some kind of symbiote wanting a new host or trying to expand to another host. But either way, though, right now it's her realizing that, oh my God, this is what you have been hiding from me. But right after she had basically touched Cyborg's skin, well, that is the moment you have Cyborg and Tara both see some kind of lady. They're having this vision where this random lady is trying to talk to them. But of course, the way she speaks is a language they have no idea how to speak it. And so, of course, they don't understand what she's trying to tell them. But of course, when they both come back to, they both realize they both had the same vision. The problem is, though, Tara freaks out and she leaves. But when she does leave, you have Cyborg out of the car. He looks down and the ground is cracked. And of course, it tells us that Tara Powers has also activated as well. Now, of course, we actually do jump over to Garfield, aka Beast Boy, but right now he's not Beast Boy just yet. But right now we kind of see him having dinner with his two fathers. And of course, it's kind of establishing that basically when it comes to Garfield, he has a good family life. Like him and his parents, They have a good bond. There's no problems. But of course, you do have his father's wondering, hey, are you okay? Because it seems like something is wrong with you. And of course, it's Garfield saying, I just have a headache. But of course, kind of hinting the idea that basically Garfield powers could be activating very soon. But then we actually jump over to Joseph Wilson, remember, the son of Slade Wilson. And honestly, this page right here is just him on the beach, just kind of drawing. And honestly, I can't tell you what was the actual purpose of this page. Maybe it's just telling us that he's an artist, and that's really it. Besides that, I have no idea why we have this page here for. Now, of course, we jump back over to Victor, and this is Victor basically going back home to his mom. Now, of course, he does tell his mom, hey, mom, listen, I stole your car to go meet with Tara. And of course, you have his mom very upset with the idea that he had basically stole her car to use her car to go meet that girl, Tara. And matter of fact, we kind of find out that basically Eleanor, the mother of Cyborg, does not like Tara at all. She even says, I do not like her, and I hate the idea of you hanging out with her, especially because her mom has some problems. But then you have Cyborg say, Mom, be quiet. I need to tell you something very important. I need you to see something very important. And of course, it's Cyborg showing his mother that basically his skin is turning to metal. Now, of course, you would think that his mom would freak out, but she does not freak out. Instead, she says, oh my God, it's finally happening, which of course means she knew that this day could have possibly come. Now that is the moment where we actually jump over to Tara. And of course, it's Tara kind of doing the same thing Cyborg did, which is going home to her mother and telling her mother, hey mom, this is what's happening to me right now. Like something big has happened to me and I need to talk to you about what's basically happening to me. Now, of course, when she gets home, of course, it's confirmed that her mother is an alcoholic. And of course, you do have Tara kind of upset with the idea that her mom is now drinking. And so, of course, it's no longer Tara saying, hey, mom, I have something very important to tell you. It's now more of like, hey, mom, why are you drinking? I'm very mad at you for drinking right now. Like, why in the world are you drinking? Now, of course, that is the moment you do have her mom kind of get upset with Tara for Tara being mad at her for basically drinking. And this, of course, does lead into an argument between the two characters. But while they're arguing, of course, that is the moment you do have Tara powers basically activate. Of course, causing a small earthquake to happen in the area. And so that tells Tara's mother, oh my God, your powers have basically activated. Now, of course, all the weird things are not just happening to Cyborg and Tara. They're also happening to Garfield as well. Because getting back over to Garfield, while he's kind of hanging out with his fathers, well, that is the moment he begins to say something that's not even a normal language on Earth. And of course, you have his fathers kind of like, what in the world did you just say? Because that language was not normal. What are you saying right now? But of course, that is the moment you have Garfield kind of pass out in front of his fathers. Now, getting back over to Cyborg for one more page, this is the moment where we basically do see Eleanor telling her son that she knew something like this was going to happen. And of course, it's Cyborg's wondering, why in the world did his mom plan this to happen? Like, what is she not telling him? What in the world is going on? Now, of course, you do have Eleanor trying to calm her son down. But of course, he's kind of like, no, I know you're basically hiding something from me. What in the world is going on, mom? What did you basically do to me? And that is the moment where we basically get a few pages that are basically jumping between different settings, but really focusing on the different characters that are very important for this book. So Tara, Garfield, Joseph as well, and also Cyborg. And how basically right now, they're all kind of going through some kind of change. Now, when I say all, I really mean just Tara, Cyborg, and Garfield. When it seems to Joseph, he's not going through a change right now. But either way, though, you do have all four characters kind of being contacted by our mysterious character we saw at the very beginning of our video, but also kind of here and there in later parts of the video, where basically right now you kind of have her calling out for help. She's saying, I need help. Can you guys please help me? And her saying what she's saying, I need help, please come save me. And it does seem like right now, this mysterious character is basically right now locked in some kind of laboratory. But then we actually jump over to Joseph Wilson. And basically, it is Joseph Wilson kind of telling us who was that lady that was basically contacting him or contacting every single one of them. And that is the moment we come to find out that that was basically Starfire. And so that means the family we saw earlier that was traveling in space in Raven's dream, that was basically Starfire, her family, traveling through space. But apparently, once they were on Earth, or they crashed on Earth and her parents died, she was basically taken in. And the question is, though, now, where is she being held at? Now, of course, you do have all four main characters right now arrive at the same beach location that Joseph Wilson was at. And of course, it's all of them kind of realizing that all of their powers are beginning to activate. But the question is, though, what are they, though? Because it's very weird how all their powers are turning on today at the same time. And of course, Eleanor, the mother of Cyborg, knew that this day was going to come. Now, we actually do jump back over to Raven. And remember, Raven right now lives on a Native American reservation where basically right now she is talking to her grandfather. And you do have her grandfather basically kind of asking more questions about the visions that she are seeing. And of course, in her vision, she sees four people. Of course, she's talking about Joseph, Tara, Cyborg, and Garfield. Now, of course, you do have her grandfather say, you're not going crazy. Those visions are very important, but I do want to show you something very important, which is that basically you have her grandfather take Raven to a cave. Inside this cave, there are a bunch of symbols. And of course, each of those symbols represent a different character. And of course, some of those symbols are characters we're going to see in Volume 2 of Earth 1 Teen Titans. But either way, though, she says, here's your symbol. But here's the thing. You are the chosen one to save the rest of them. And of course, you need to save the person who's in the middle of all these different symbols. And the question is, though, is that symbol in the middle Starfire? I almost said Starfield. Starfire. But either way, though, it's Raven kind of wondering what else is going on with her and the rest of these characters that she now has some kind of connection to. Now, that is the moment where we actually do see all the parents of all our characters coming together and having a meeting. And of course, it's all the parents basically telling each other that the day has finally come, where of course all the kids' powers are basically activating. Now, here's the thing, though. You do have Eleanor kind of happy with what's happening right now. But the rest of the parents, they're not happy with what's actually happening. Like right now, they were kind of hoping that this day would never come. But of course it did. And so now they must basically handle this situation. Now you do have Eleanor kind of kill off one of the fathers of Beast Boy. And the reason why, because that father was basically talking some mad smack towards Eleanor. And so of course she shot him and killed him. Now, after that, you do have Eleanor tell Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke, you need to go out there and basically track them down and bring them to us. Now, of course, you do have Slade ask, how in the world is he going to find them? And she says they're going to the crash site. And of course, this crash site is going to be very important for this entire story. Of course, that is the moment you do have the Teen Titans be confronted by Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke. Now, of course, A lot of fans did not like the idea of what Deathstroke looked like. And matter of fact, I did not like it either. He looks ridiculous. But either way, though, this is Deathstroke basically doing his job. He's basically coming after the Teen Titans to bring to Eleanor Stone. Now, of course, you do have the Teen Titans try to fight against him. The problem is, though, guys, this is a teenage team that just came together right now, and they have no idea how to use their new powers. They're trying their best, but of course, they do not stand a chance against somebody who clearly has been training for this or any other kind of moment like this for years on years. And so right now, this is not a fair fight for a Teen Titan, but of course, they have no choice. They have to keep fighting against Slade Wilson. Now, of course, while you have most of the characters fighting against Slade Wilson, you still have Joey kind of like, hey, maybe we should go with him. Maybe he can give us answers that we are looking for. And so it's kind of like Joey being that one guy out, where of course you have everybody else on guard, and Joey's kind of like, no. Let's trust Eleanor Stone. Let's trust my father. Like, let's do all these different things. And of course, you have the rest of the Titans saying, no, we cannot trust them. They are bad guys. Now, we actually do jump over to the Lighthouse facility, where basically we pick up with Eleanor Stone and the rest of the parents of the rest of the Teen Titans. And right now, you do have Eleanor Stone kind of right now basically talking to the other parents about what's the next phases for this project. But on top of that, of course, we do come to find out that basically they are holding Starfire here. And of course, we do get confirmation that when it came to Starfire and her family, they did travel across space, and of course they did arrive on Earth. But of course, Starfire's family died completely and only left behind Starfire. And of course, when they took Starfire in, she was a baby. But of course, with 16 years passing by, Starfire is beginning to kind of evolve, change, getting stronger. And of course, it's Eleanor Stone wondering what is coming next for Starfire. But then we actually pick up with Raven. And when we do, we actually do see that Raven was in contact with Starfire like the other Teen Titans were earlier. And of course, it was Raven kind of finishing this connection with Starfire, where of course she does learn that Starfire's name, Starfire needs help, a lot of different things about Starfire. But of course, you do have Raven just completely pass out. And of course, it does freak out her grandfather. He's all like, granddaughter, what happened to you? Why on the ground right now? And so, of course, he does run to basically get her some kind of help. But then we jump over to Slade fighting against the Teen Titans. Now, while he's fighting against the Teen Titans, of course, this is Slade basically saying like, hey, listen, none of us were your parents. Like, I'm going to tell you this right now. The people that you thought were your mother or father, they never were your mother or father. Instead, they were basically people who were just placed to watch over you. Like, you have no parents, actually. I mean, you might have parents, but right now, it's not us. And of course, this only comes out because it's Tara thinking that Slade had possibly killed her father because her father just had disappeared. And of course, it's her thinking that her father was basically killed by Slade, this guy who's kind of like an assassin right now. But it's Slade saying, we were never your parents. Why don't you get that? Like, basically, everything you thought you loved about your parents, yeah, it was all fake completely. But then we jump over to Raven again. Now, this is Raven still having connection with Starfire. And of course, with this connection, it is Raven kind of realizing that Starfire needs some kind of help. That Starfire is right now trapped somewhere. But of course, it's also her realizing that basically the other Teen Titans also need help. And so, of course, once she kind of ends her connection with Starfire, of course, you do have Raven talk to her grandfather. Like, I realize that she needs help, but they also need help. And so you have her grandfather kind of unlock this hidden ability, like her true Raven powers. And he tells her, you need to fly over to them. You basically need to help them. And so, of course, she basically does teleport over to Slade Wilson. Now, when she does teleport over to Slade Wilson, it is basically her seeing that Slade Wilson is fighting against the rest of the Teen Titans. And so, of course, she knows that basically she has to help them out. She has to protect them. And so what she does is that she kind of blasts something towards his head. And when she does that, of course, it seems like she had just killed him, because as soon as that blast hit his head and goes through his head, but not actually cutting through his head, he just passes out. And of course, everyone is wondering, hey, did she just kill off Slade Wilson? But of course, you have her kind of freak out and she basically leaves, leaving the Teen Titans to wonder, who was she and what did she just do to Slade Wilson? Now, right after Raven leaves, you do have the rest of the Teen Titans basically say, okay, who was she? What was that? And what in the world is going on? Because that girl just came out of nowhere, took out Slade, and then she basically left just like that. Like, what in the world is going on? And of course, you do have the Teen Titans basically say, hey, Slade's not dead. He is alive, but he is knocked out thanks to her. Now, of course, you do have the Teen Titans realize that was not Starfire. That basically, that was somebody else. Of course, they have no idea that was Raven. But of course, they're wondering, okay, who was she though? Now, you do have the characters still kind of freaking out about the idea that basically the people who kind of raised them, watched over them, fed them, all of that, were not really their parents at all. That basically they were just people who were placed by some kind of project group to watch over these kids and hoping that one day their powers would actually activate or develop. But either way though, you do have Cyborg, and most of the Teen Titans, minus Terra, say that they should go to the lighthouse to basically save Starfire, but to hopefully get some answers on what in the world is going on with them. Now Terra, she does not want to go. She just wants to disappear and forget all about this. But of course, this is Cyborg, her boyfriend, asking her to come with me. Like, basically, come with me. I need you right now. Because it could have answers on basically what in the world is going on with us, or it could have something there for us that could basically cure us. So why not go together to basically figure out what in the world is going on? But then we jump back over to Raven, and we come to find out that basically what happened earlier was Raven kind of sent an astral form of herself to go help with the Teen Titans, but her actual body stayed with her grandfather in New Mexico. But of course, when she wakes up, she realized what she actually did, and of course, it's kind of a lot to process. And so you have her grandfather being that great grandfather to basically help her kind of realize what she did and to comfort her. But then we actually jump over to Eleanor Stone. And of course, some of the parents who are still left alive are not knocked out, still at the lab trying to figure out what's in the world is going on with Starfire. Because with her kind of aging and evolving, she's no longer able to be controlled. And sooner or later, she's going to break free. And if she does, it could technically lead to more problems down the road. But basically right now, you do have some of the higher ups for this company coming to Eleanor and saying, you have two choices right now. You could go ahead and let us kill Starfire, or you can try to control her again, but if you can't control her, we're going to kill her. So basically, I'm hoping you can control her so this project can still go on. Because we kind of find out that Eleanor Stone is the person in charge of this project, but she's not the one in charge of this entire company, because this company is part of Star Labs. Now, of course, the higher ups say the timer has been started. If you cannot get her under control, once the timer ends, the virus we made for her will basically go in her bloodstream and basically kill her off. And then this project is basically canceled. Now, you do have this higher up tell Eleanor, but at least we still have the Blackfire project still going. And of course, it's another special project that could possibly play a role in future books of Earth 1 and Teen Titans. Now, you do have the Teen Titans being able to kind of find a pathway that could basically lead them to the main parts of the lab. And so, of course, you do have the Teen Titans begin to take this pathway that could lead them to the lab and to hopefully save Starfire. Now, you do have most of the Teen Titans actually want to kind of continue and see what in the world is going on. But one character does not want to, and that character is Joseph Wilson, because right now he's kind of like, maybe we should not come here. Maybe we should leave. Like, coming here was a bad idea. But of course, the Teen Titans want to still continue on. And while they're doing that, of course, they're kind of seeing different kind of containers that were labeled. And of course, you can see the names on these projects, these containers. And of course, they're telling us these containers belong to the Teen Titans. You know, Changeling, Cyborg, Terra. Like, basically tell us the Teen Titans were made here in this lighthouse. And of course, they were made here, but somehow they got powers. How in the world were they given powers? Now, of course, you still have Eleanor trying her best to kind of hopefully stop what's happening to Starfire, get her back under control so that this project can basically continue on. But of course, that is the moment you do have a security guard coming to her and saying like, hey, got some word for you. Slade Wilson, he got taken down and basically the children are here right now. What should we do? And you have Eleanor say, okay, the kids are here, then fine. Let's go ahead and get rid of them. How many guys you have left? How many guards? Hope it's enough. Is there enough? If there is, go ahead and kill them. Get rid of them. It's probably for the best. Now, of course, you do have the Teen Titans kind of looking at these different containers. And when they do look at these different containers, they can see the different names on these containers. And they realize that basically these containers were their containers. Like, basically when they were being experimented on, they were kept in these containers. And of course they had different code names like Cyborg, Changeling, Terra, which of course she didn't have a code name. But either way though, it's Cyborg and the others realizing that they were kept in here. Now, you do have Joey also tell the Teen Titans, hey guys, look over there. And that is the moment we come to find out there is another Teen Titan in this book. And of course, it is Tempest, who was another member of the Teen Titans back in the main DC universe. And so you have the Teen Titans find Tempest. And this is huge because you're kind of like, okay, that means there could possibly be other experiments out there in the world who are possibly just other Teen Titans characters. And of course, there is the Blackfire project that we heard about earlier that could be very important for later books down the road. But right now, you have the Teen Titans basically find Tempest. But of course, that is the moment you have the Teen Titans realize they are not alone. And so, of course, that is the moment you do have the Teen Titans basically be confronted by Eleanor and the guards who were at first going to kill off the Teen Titans. But this is Eleanor kind of hoping that basically she'll be able to convince the Teen Titans to actually work with her and keep this project alive. But of course, this is how we find out the origin of the Teen Titans, how they basically got their powers. And you have Eleanor tell us that when it comes to the Teen Titans, basically, when Starfire came to Earth, when her family crashed on Earth, and of course they died, but she survived, you had Star Labs basically take Starfire in. But they realized that her alien DNA could do something special for humans down the road. And so, of course, they took her DNA and began to apply it to regular humans. Now, the problem was, though, most of those humans died. And the reason why, because they were adults. And so that is where the Teen Titans come in. Because you have Eleanor say that with the Teen Titans being a bunch of kids who had no parents because their parents abandoned them or had possibly died, and these kids were in foster care, you had Eleanor say, look, how about we take these kids out of foster care, do some testing on them with the alien DNA to see that basically if they can survive the change, the process, but on top of that, maybe we can give these kids some kind of home. Because again, they were growing up in a foster care. And so, of course, Eleanor thought that she was doing the Teen Titans a favor. The problem is, though, while she's talking, you do have Beast Boy see one of his fathers is dead. Because earlier, Eleanor did kill off one of the fathers of Beast Boy. And so you do have Beast Boy actually get very angry, and he does cut the throat of Eleanor Stone. Now, of course, this does start a somewhat battle between the Teen Titans and the security guard, but you do have Cyborg go to his mother, because this is Cyborg basically upset with the idea that the person that he thought was his mother, the person that he actually thought had raised him, taken care of him, and actually cared for him, well, she never did. And of course, she only raised him because he was part of a project. And so, of course, he is very upset and he wants to shut everything down. But Eleanor does have one more thing up her sleeve. And she does tell Joey, okay, Joey, it's time for you to do your thing. And of course, you have Joey say, my name is not Joey. My name is Jericho. And of course, he begins the process of using his powers. And of course, that is the moment you do have Jericho begin to use his powers, where basically he is able to possess your body. Basically take his body, go inside your body, and you're basically possessed by Jericho. And of course, you do have Eleanor tell the Teen Titans that when it comes to Joseph, Joseph knows a lot of different things about their abilities. And of course, that means that with the Teen Titans, they're still kind of figuring out what their abilities are. But for Jericho, being Eleanor's special student, he knew a lot about their abilities that they have no idea about. And of course, it does give him the edge to kind of take over their bodies and use their abilities on their friends to basically take each other out. And of course, it's her technically winning right now until somebody else actually steps in. And of course, that person is Slade Wilson. Slade caught up and he's kind of like, you know what? I'm done with all of this. Basically, it's time for me to go ahead and stop all of this right now. I'm on the kid's side. I'm going to stop you, Eleanor, but also get my son back. It's Slade kind of saying, I looked at Joey as my son and I'm going to get him back. Now, here's how Joey Wilson powers work, or Jericho powers basically work. He has to actually look at you in the eyes to take over your body. If he doesn't, then he's unable to actually take over your body. And so, of course, you have Deathstroke saying, I know how your powers work and I know how to defend myself to stop you from actually taking over my body. Now, this does lead into a battle again, but of course, in the middle of the battle, you do have Deathstroke trying to kill off Eleanor. But while you have those two characters kind of struggling against one another, you do have Eleanor being able to kind of take out Cyborg by hitting a button that basically kind of shuts down the metal parts of Cyborg's body. But on top of that, it does take Deathstroke by surprise, which of course his eyes are now wide open, and that is all Jericho needs to basically take over somebody's body. And of course he does take over his own father's body. And of course you do have Jericho basically trying to make Deathstroke kill his own father. Now, Deathstroke is a very strong fighter, and also Deathstroke knows how to fight against his son. And so this is Deathstroke trying to prevent himself from being killed by his own son. Because right now you have Joey possessing the body of Deathstroke and trying to make Deathstroke kill himself. The problem is, though, Deathstroke is a strong fighter. Now, you do have Jericho leaving the body of Deathstroke thinking that basically he did enough to make Deathstroke basically kill himself, but Deathstroke stopped himself from killing himself. He swung his blade, but when he did that, Jericho was leaving the body of Deathstroke, and that blade swung across Jericho's throat. And of course, meaning that Jericho is basically about to die. And so you have Deathstroke say, to save your life, son, go ahead and take my body back again so that you can live. And hopefully we can find some way to basically help you and me both. Now, of course, we have to remember there was a countdown for Starfire's life. And of course, that meaning that, hey, If the timer goes down to 0, the failsafe is going to go off, and basically some kind of virus will be injected into her bloodstream that is basically going to kill her. And so, of course, you do have Eleanor kind of begging the Teen Titans to save Starfire. Is Eleanor kind of feeling bad for Starfire now after everything, but also for the kids as well? But at the same time, is Eleanor kind of hoping that basically her project can live on if the Teen Titans basically save Starfire? Now, you do have Cyborg tell Eleanor that they are no longer mother and son, that he's not doing this for her. Instead, he's doing this for Starfire because he realized what his mom and the rest of this Star Lab group had basically did to Starfire, and it is completely wrong. And so, of course, you do have Cyborg and the rest of the Teen Titans being able to break Starfire free. Now, of course, once you have the Teen Titans being able to break Starfire free, you have Starfire see you know who, Eleanor, and you have Starfire ticked off like you have caused me so many pains over the years. Now, of course, you do have Eleanor kind of like, hey, listen, it's in the past. Let's move on. Please forgive me. But of course, it's Starfire kind of like, no, I cannot forgive you. Like, you basically did horrible things to me over the years. Why in the world would I forgive you? And so, of course, you do have Starfire basically kill off Eleanor. Now, of course, with her being dead, you do have the Teen Titans kind of like, yay, we're free. But of course, you have Starfire say that she needs to help somebody else. Now, we have no idea who she's talking about, but of course, you do have Starfire basically leave to go help that person out. And of course, she just leaves the Teen Titans behind. Now, of course, with Starfire being gone, you now have the Teen Titans wondering, okay, what do we do next? Because Starfire is now gone. She basically ditched us. We have no way of following her. Our power is still developing. We have no money, nowhere to go. Like, what can we do? And of course, you do have Tara just want to leave them behind. She's kind of like, I'm done with this. Leave me alone. I'm out. But then she's kind of like, I still love Cyborg and I want him to come. But you have Cyborg kind of like, we need a plan first because we can't just go anywhere. Look at me. Look at Beast Boy. You're the only person who looks normal right now, Tara. Like, we just can't leave and go in the world thinking that everything is going to be okay. But of course, that is the moment you do have Tara's mother appear. And she says, go to Utah. Go to Utah. And the reason why, because there is another facility. And of course, that facility is running Project Blackfire. You need to go there to basically figure out what in the world is going on. And of course, you might get more answers over there. But then you do have Tara's mother say, but you need to go now. Because right now, you're going to have a bunch of guards coming here to basically kill you guys off. Because you guys are a project, they don't want you guys to get out there to the public. And so, of course, if they find you here, they're going to kill you. But before you leave, please take him with you. Of course, she is talking about Tempest. And so you do have the Teen Titans basically leave her behind, which of course, she's going to die because she was part of that project. But you do have the Teen Titans being able to escape with Tempest, and they head towards Utah. But to go ahead and kind of wrap up this story, we actually do pick up with Raven. And you do have Raven basically tell us that it has been 4 days since she last saw the Teen Titans. And of course, she's kind of wondering what happened to them. She has no idea what happened to them because she had no more visions of them. But of course, she feels like something else is going to happen. And of course, she does go to a cave. And when she does, she is confronted by Starfire. And you have Starfire kind of like, I need your help. And book 1 ends on that note right there. So with that being said, I do hope you enjoyed today's comic book video. And if you do, please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, I'll see y'all next time. Later.